Hello, my name is David O'Neill, student number S00259401, and this is my assessment task 3, case conference and reflection for exercise science 394. Case profile. My client for this assessment task was Sophia, a 20-year-old apparently healthy female. Based on her ESSA pre-screening form, she did not display any risk factors for beginning an exercise program and averaged 480 minutes of exercise per week, 240 minutes of that being light activity and 240 minutes being moderate. A consideration that arose was that she recently underwent an upper body surgery which would limit the exercises I would be able to prescribe her to only lower body and core. Sophia's goals were to build strength, particularly lower body and core, gain muscle, and reduce fat. As building strength and gaining muscle both require an anabolic state and reducing fat requires a catabolic state, we would aim to have her enter an anabolic state to focus on her first two goals of building strength and gaining muscle for the 6-week duration of the exercise program. After completion of the 6 weeks, we would then reassess her goals and decide if she would like to continue building strength and gaining muscle or focus on reducing fat. Assessment results. When assessing my client, I used both subjective and objective assessments to determine the best course of action to be followed over the duration of her program. Subjective assessment. Based on the information that arose by using motivational interviewing, the reasons for Sophia's goals were that she would like to improve her confidence, self-image, and overall sense of wellness. As she works as a personal trainer, she would feel more competent being confident about her level of strength, muscle mass, and body fat percentage. This would allow her to set the example necessary to improve the wellness of her clientele. Objective assessment. As we were limited by Sophia's recent surgery to strictly training lower body and core, I selected appropriate testing protocols related to her goals of building strength and gaining muscle, particularly for her lower body and core. The tests conducted included a Queen's College step test to determine VO2 max, sit and reach to determine flexibility, 1RM squat estimate, calculated using a 5-rep maximum to determine lower body absolute strength, maximum squats in 1 minute to determine lower body strength, endurance, and efficiency, maximum plank hold test to determine core endurance, and maximum crunches in 1 minute to determine core strength, endurance, and efficiency. Measures including resting heart rate, resting blood pressure, BMI, and waist to hip ratio were also determined. After completing the exercise program, Sophia demonstrated improvements that aligned with her goals. She increased her absolute strength, which was demonstrated by an increase in the 1RM squat from 65 kilos to 69 kilos. Also increased the ability to apply more of that strength within a set time, as seen in her increase in maximum squats in 1 minute from 50 reps to 56 reps, and maximum crunches in 1 minute from 24 reps to 31 reps. Her flexibility was also increased, as seen by her sit and reach score increasing by 1 centimeter. Sophia's goal of increasing muscle mass was also likely reached. This was shown by her increase in weight from 62 kilos to 63 kilos, although further testing, such as body fat testing using skin calipers, or a DEXA scan to find her body composition, would be needed to determine this. All of her objective measures were in the healthy and normative ranges. However, her blood pressure post-training was slightly elevated, possibly due to her focus on increasing strength and muscle mass, leading to less of an emphasis on cardiovascular activity. Intervention. For this assessment, I put together an evidence-based program focused on building strength and gaining muscle mass. By achieving these goals, Sophia would fulfill the motives that were driving her goals, including improving her confidence, self-image, and overall sense of wellness. For my program, I was able to implement 2 testing sessions and 4 exercise sessions, one of which being a home exercise session that took place on the Anzac Day public holiday. In the first week of the exercise program delivery, I delivered a telehealth home exercise session via Zoom. This session consisted of a warm-up that included alternate lunges for 10 reps, squats for 10 reps, and glute bridges for 10 reps. Following the warm-up, we moved into the working sets, which consisted of squats, alternate lunges, sit-ups, lying leg raises, and planks. Each exercise took place for 3 sets of 10 reps, as informed by the literature. We were limited in this session to only using body weight exercises, as we did not have any exercise equipment available other than a yoga mat. The exercise program for Sophia's sessions was as follows. We began each session with a warm-up to get the blood flowing and raise her body temperature, which would reduce the risk of injuries occurring, such as muscle tears and strains. The warm-up consisted of a 5-minute walk, 2x8 alternate lunges, 2x8 90-90 rotations, and 2x8 jump squats in that order. This prepared her thoroughly for the oncoming working sets. The working sets were split into a lower body component and a core component, 4 exercises for lower body and 3 exercises for core. If available, we usually started with the barbell hip squat, as this was the exercise we were trying to see the greatest improvement in, as it recruited the greatest amount of lower body musculature and was what we used for the retesting. We managed to increase from 3x10 at 40 kilos in the first week of training to 3x8 of 45 kilos in the second week, and then 3x10 of 45 kilos in the third week. This increase reflected in our post-training 1RM squat retesting results, as this increased from 65 kilos to 69 kilos. The second exercise performed was usually the barbell hip thrust, where we started in the first week with 50 kilos for 3x10, then progressed to 60 kilos for 3x8 in the second week, and finished in the final week with 60 kilos for 3x10. Following this exercise, we moved on to the dumbbell reverse lunge, where Sophia lifted 16 kilos in the form of two 8-kilo dumbbells for 3x10 in the first week, the same in the second week, and then 18 kilos for 3x9 in the third week. The final lower body exercise that was performed was the dumbbell Romanian deadlift. In this exercise, Sophia started at 20 kilos for 3x10, progressed to 25 kilos for 3x8 in the second week, and finally reached 60 kilos for 3x10 in the third week. I think that there was a good range of exercises to target the muscles in the lower body. However, an improvement could have been to add in exercises that isolated the calves, hip abductors and adductors, such as calf raises, and 3 sets on the hip adduction and abduction machine. The core component began with lying leg raises, which was performed for 3x10 in the first week, 3x10 in the second week, and 3x12 in the third week. Following this was sit-ups for 3x10 in the first week, 3x12 in the second week, and 3x13 in the third week. Finally, the plank was performed for 3x25 seconds in the first week, 3x30 seconds in the second week, and 3x35 seconds in the final week. As Sophia was not holding the plank for a maximal amount of time possible, she did not see an increase in her plank time until failure in post-testing. The sets and reps that I chose for each exercise were informed by the evidence-based research that I found, which dictated that to achieve Sophia's goals, we would keep the repetitions between 8 and 12 and sets at 3 for maximum results within the time available. The rest between sets was between 45 seconds and 1 minute and 30 seconds. To complete this session, Sophia would complete a 5-minute walk followed by 5 minutes of stretching that involved a quadricep stretch, hamstring stretch, glute stretch, hip flexor stretch, ITV stretch, calf stretch, and core stretch. Each session that took place in the program went for about 1 hour. Sophia also completed this session once per week in her own time at a local gym, and she walked her dogs for 30 minutes every day. The total weekly training load was 330 minutes, 210 minutes of light activity, and 120 minutes of moderate activity. Professional reflection. Factors I think I did well throughout the delivery of the program include professionalism, which I demonstrated by always wearing my ACU polo, using appropriate language, and showing respect to my peers. Confidence, which I feel developed with each week of the program as I felt more confident in my ability as an exercise scientist. I think I also improved in being able to build rapport as I developed a friendly professional relationship with my client Sophia. I also think I did well in exercise testing, being able to determine the values needed to prescribe suitable exercises. For exercise prescription, my choices were informed using the evidence-based research that was available, and for exercise delivery, I think I provided good demonstrations and explanations for each of the exercises. For areas that I think I can improve on, these include more measurements for exercise testing, such as measuring body fat using skin calipers and taking circumferences of more body parts, such as the arms and legs. I think this would have been good to do so that I could have determined whether or not Sophia had gained muscle or fat. Spatial awareness within the gym and consideration of other gym users is an area where I was lacking in competence. I found myself setting up exercises in areas that were inconvenient for other gym users that may have caused hazards. As the weeks progressed, I tried to be more mindful of this, being more mindful of other gym users and my surroundings. Queuing during exercise delivery is a weak point of mine, as shown in my feedback for the Anzac Day telehealth session. I think going forward it would be beneficial to my practice as an exercise scientist to have a list of cues for each exercise prior to commencing each exercise session. This would allow me to be ready to improve the form of my clients by correcting commonly made errors. Where to next? At the conclusion of my training with Sophia, we finished with a debrief. She expressed that she was happy that her strength had improved and that she now felt more confident and had a better sense of overall wellness. She also thought that it was time to focus on improving her cardiovascular ability going forward. This was something that she could work on in her next training block. Changes to my approach that I will implement going forward include being more aware and considerate when in a gym setting, and also having a list of cues ready for the exercises prescribed in each session. For example, when working with a client on a cable row, I might tell them to keep their core engaged and pull their shoulders back. Thank you for your time.